Wi-Fi routers for the longest time have been a frustrating yet necessary component of every home internet network. They're confusing, not the most attractive, and don't really help you understand what's going on with your Wi-Fi. What is up guys, Taylor Moore here. This is the Amplify HD, and this is the Amplify Teleport, which word on the street is that this crazy little device can connect you back to your home network from anywhere in the world. One of the biggest benefits of being able to connect back to your home network from a different country is specifically to be able to watch shows like Netflix and actually be able to get the American version and not the international versions. But first, this is Amplify HD, one of Ubiquiti's mesh network Wi-Fi systems and my personal favorite Wi-Fi on the market right now. Here are 5 reasons why I recently sold off my Orbi system and have replaced it with this one. The first is performance. With one central router and 2 mesh points, the Amplify creates a theoretical combined speed of 5.25 gigabits per second and a max coverage of 20,000 square feet. That is a crazy amount of coverage for such a compact set of devices. Like all mesh systems, one network name, no ugly handoffs or loss of signal as you move around the house, as well as some selectivity around where your Wi-Fi signal is strongest based on where you put your mesh points. That's the beauty of mesh network systems in general. Looking at a quick overview versus some other routers that are in a similar price range, the Amplify kinda decimates the others in terms of coverage. It's really not even much of a fair comparison. The data transfer speeds as well are really strong compared to others in a similar price range. Now, running some tests around my 1,200 square foot apartment, I was maxing out the data transfer tests for both download and upload, getting full 100 megabits per second speeds, which is what I pay for from my service provider. This makes testing the mesh points difficult, but they're still important for my setup and you'll see why soon. But I can confidently say that even the router by itself is really powerful. In all fairness, the Orbi did produce the same speed results, so it's not necessarily the biggest reason why I'm making my switch. The second is aesthetics. Now, for those who plan to just hide their Wi-Fi router away in a closet somewhere, this may not be important to you, but for me, I love great tech, and when I can display it proudly, I love it a whole lot more. This roughly 4x4x4 inch cube takes up so little space, it seems to kind of almost float above the glowing base, and the 1.6 inch LCD touchscreen gives almost a sense of life to it while providing a ton of useful data. It's bright, responsive, and thankfully minimal. Tapping on it to switch between screens gives the time and various metrics based on what's important to you. I never knew I actually cared about how much data was being used until I had a Wi-Fi router that actually showed it. That status glow on the bottom of the router as well, I leave mine on all the time. I just love the glow that it produces on the shelf below my TV, and I also love that the app allows you to schedule it so that it will turn off at certain times during the day. Now, in parallel to the router, the mesh points are far more sleek and subtle than my previous Orbi mesh points. No cables, they plug directly into your wall and use a magnetic ball joint to position the antenna. Now, the magnetic feature feels a little unnecessary to me, but it does add a lot of flexibility in positioning. I also really appreciate the status LEDs on the front of the device showing connectivity strength to the base. Amplify really killed it with aesthetics of both devices, proving that routers don't need to be an eyesore and can actually provide a ton of relevant data without going to a computer or to an app to find it. The third is flexibility. So I have kind of a weird setup here in my apartment. My Ethernet wall connection isn't anywhere near my TV stand, so I had to get a little creative with how I'd connect all my devices. I could connect them all via Wi-Fi, but I'd rather hardwire my streaming devices, and Amplify solves this through allowing me to use a second router as a mesh point. I now get 4 Ethernet ports to hardwire my Apple TV, Smart TV, Philips Hue hub, and Blu-ray player, keeping them off of my Wi-Fi. I personally really love this setup, despite it being a little bit more expensive and kind of puts it in a tier up in terms of price. It allows me to place my TV wherever I want without having to think about where the Ethernet connection is. Now, if you really want to supercharge your home's Wi-Fi, the Amplify has another feature known as Ethernet backhaul, which essentially allows you to connect a second router to your main router, which is connected to the wall, and allow it to flow through from the main router to your secondary router, pumping out full signal strength from both routers. Between this and infinite expandability of mesh points, you could really build out an incredibly robust network if you needed something beyond 20,000 square feet. It's the dream someday. Maybe not really, we'll see. The fourth is the mobile install process, and I can't emphasize enough how easy this was. I first installed the app, I connected my Wi-Fi router to both power and to Ethernet. I opened the app and it immediately found the device using Bluetooth LE, which is some crazy voodoo magic. I named it, I chose a password, and it was done. It was really easy. The mesh points were honestly exactly the same thing. You plug them into the wall, it uses Bluetooth to find it, give it a name, and you're done. It's so easy. If you had to buy this system for your grandmother, she probably wouldn't even be calling you asking questions. She might. And now the last major selling point for me was the mobile app and all of its features. Right off the bat, you can easily see the status and the strength of each connection point from your phone at any time. It shows device connectivity and how much data each device is using. You can pause activity to all devices or certain devices, or group them, so maybe you have all of your kids' devices in a group and you have the ability to pause them when you're trying to do family dinner. It allows you to run speed tests right in the app, and you can set up a timed temporary guest network that'll turn off after a set period of time. So when you have guests come over, it's on, and by the time they leave, it's turned off. For the streaming, uploading videos, and hosting events that I do, this set of capabilities really makes a lot of sense. Other more advanced features do exist, like being able to separate the two bands, the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz channels, into separate Wi-Fi names, but I honestly don't really take advantage of these features. It's a clean, simple, easy to use app that gives me all the information I could ever need, and quite frankly, is plenty for the average consumer. Now, I do need to call out a couple downsides for this device because they do exist, and the first of those is the feature list. The system most notably does not have any of the more advanced functionalities that allow a router to deliver the most optimal signal for each individual device. So notably absent are going to be quality of service, advanced beamforming, and MU-MIMO. Now, the second biggest downside that I see is that there is a functionless USB port on the back that would be great if it could support external hard drives for local cloud storage, but it doesn't have any functionality at this point. But the word on the street is that that is coming in the future, so I guess we'll just have to stay tuned for that. The bottom line is the footprint, the power, the range, the beauty, the touchscreen, the app. These all make this my favorite Wi-Fi router of 2018.